Let's start in this session. We are going to discuss Linux for AWS Data Engineering. As part of Linux for AWS Data Engineering, we are going to see different chapters with practical examples. Let's first understand what is the purpose of Linux, uh, AWS Data Engineering. Okay, say we are working uh, assume we are working different data engineering projects. Let's say we deployed data engineering projects into cluster. Let's say we have some cluster. So most of the time, cluster missions are Linux missions. Most of the time, clus- cluster missions are Linux missions too. Let's say we deployed our data engineering application into this cluster. We deployed our application into this cluster. Let's say we developed uh, analytics ETL application, and we deployed this application, and they are using this application successfully. But for one requirement, it failed to process. So one requirement it failed to process, and maybe it generating some logs, and they are asking our support engineer, AWS or any data engineer who is working in support environment. So for these people, they never give entire cluster access. They create, they already having one mission. This mission we call it as client mission, client mission or gateway mission, gateway mission. So in this gateway mission also, they may install either Linux or Unix operating system, and we have a user credentials to log in this mission, and we are going to do all our activities like submitting job, troubleshooting issues, finding issues, anything we are going to do from this client mission. So here client mission in all these cluster missions, it contain Linux operating system. Only in your developer mission, you may see Windows. Only in your developer mission, you may see Windows, but but all development servers, testing servers, and production server missions are Linux missions. As a data engineer, usually we interact with the cluster, maybe submitting your job, maybe troubleshooting your job, maybe checking the status of your jobs. So we are going to log into Linux or Unix missions, then we are going to do our activity. So for that, we need minimum knowledge. We need a minimum knowledge of Linux too. So as a part of our Linux for data engineering, AWS data engineering, we are going to start understanding Linux introduction and Unix introduction. What is Linux? What is Unix? Okay. Then we are going to discuss Linux installation on AWS EC2 mission, and then we are going to use one SSH client to connect EC2 mission. And once we completed this one, then we are going to understand Linux file system introduction. And then we are going to discuss many Linux commands, basic commands. like clearing the screen, creating change directory, creating file, writing the content, gi- uh, and many more Linux basic commands we are going to see with the practical examples. And after that, we are going to see permissions. Let's say I created a file. I want to give permission. I want to remove permission. I created a directory. I want to give permission on that directory. I want to remove permissions on that directory. And then we are going to understand what is user, what is group, how to create user, how to create group, how to add user to group. Okay, like that, we are going to see many practical examples. So these are very, very important for data engineering. Minimum knowledge is required for data engineering. That's why we are taking Linux for AWS data engineering. Okay. So these are the concepts we are going to cover as part of our Linux for AWS data engineering. Let's continue it. Let's continue Linux for AWS data engineering. In this, let's continue Linux or Unix introduction. Linux or Unix introduction. So first important point, Linux or Unix is a operating systems. What are operating systems? Operating system is an interface between user, user or applications between hardware. It is an interface between hardware and user or application. Let me explain diagrammatically. Let's say in Linux, we have two important components. Two important components, cell and kernel. Kernel. And these are hardwares. Let's say RAM, CPU, CPU, hard disk, etc. So to interact with these these hardware components, they developed they developed kernel 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 in Unix or Linux operating system. They developed kernel going to communicate with these hardware systems. For user or application, they give a cell. They give a cell. In cell, they are going to write commands. They are going to execute programs. They are going to write commands or execute programs. So through the cell, they are going to write commands. Let's say clear screen, clear screen, mkdir, mkdir, cd, x directory. So like this, we give different commands through the cell. Cell going to convert this human readable format commands to kernel understandable format. Then kernel is responsible to communicate with this hardware, and based on this inputs, it is going to execute corresponding action. It is going to execute corresponding action type. So is cell is a interface between either user or application between uh, kernel, user or application between kernel. It will take input from user or application and converts into kernel understandable format. Then kernel is responsible to execute corresponding action by interacting corresponding hardware system. Okay, so this is Linux or Unix operating system. Linux or Unix operating system. Uh, in that we have two important components, cell or kernel type. shell or kernel. So first let's understand history or evolution of Unix and Linux operating system. First, initially, Unix operating system was implemented using C programming language in 1973. First Unix operating system in C language, C language developed by two people, Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. Dennis Ritchie is a father of C language, and Thompson is developed before this. He developed one more operating system called UNICS Unix. UNICS called Unix. So he developed one product Unix, and based on this Unix, again they implemented one more product called Unix with C programming language. With C programming language. So this Unix operating system developed by two people. One is Ken Thompson. He already developed Unix. Another person is Dennis. He developed a programming language called C, and they both combinedly developed UNIX Unix using C programming language. Here, here they make this Unix operating system as a free and open source tool. Based on this Based on this free and open source systems, plenty of operating systems developed like Sun Solaris, the most powerful operating system called Sun Solaris. It is acquired by Oracle. We are seeing Oracle Sun Solaris, sorry, Oracle Solaris. Sun sold their products to Oracle. Now Solaris is a product of Oracle. Then, like Solaris, now IBM AX, HP UX, plenty of Unix operating systems. Solaris, AX, UX, etc. Along with this one, there is one more operating system was developed is Linux. Linux. Linux also developed based on this Unix free operating system or open source. And who developed this Linux operating system is Linus Torvalds in 1991. Linus Torvalds developed this Linux operating system in 1991, and they make this one also free and open source. And based on this free and open source, 600 plus operating systems were invented. In that, 300 plus operating systems are uh, active, like Red Hat Linux, Debian Linux, Fedora Linux, CentOS, Ubuntu, Kali Linux, Amazon Linux, plenty of operating systems developed based on this free and open source operating system. In that, in the all, I said 300 plus active Linux operating systems available in the market, right? All these 300 operating systems follows two kinds of syntaxes: Red Hat based syntax or Debian based syntax. Red Hat based syntax or Debian based syntax. Example, if I want to install any software, here we use command called yum. Yum. Here we are going to use apt command. Apt command. Such kind of little difference, not all. The basic commands we are going to discuss here is works in, it may be Red Hat based, it may be Debian based. It will work in both supported operating systems. Clear, right? What is Linux or Unix? Let's start in. In this session, we are going to use Linux installation on AWS EC2, and we are going to connect that Linux operating system or AWS EC2 using SSH client called Mobile Extreme. Okay. So first you need a AWS account. You need to log in. I already I already logged in AWS cloud. So this is my AWS cloud. You may see EC2 in recently visited. If you not see, then type EC2 in search bar. Then open a EC2. Open EC2. It will open EC2 dashboard. EC2 dashboard. In that EC2 dashboard, you can see launch instance. You can see launch instance here. You can see instances and click on this instances. It is going to open running instances, or so click on instances. You can see some instances are running, some instances are running. I want to create a one more EC2 instance for my practice purpose. You can click on launch instances. You can click on launch instances. Let me click on launch instances. Then give a name to your EC2 instance. Let me give a name, let's say uh, Ubuntu, Ubuntu for AWS DA, AWS DA, or let's say Linux for AWS DA. Then scroll this one. Here I'm selecting Ubuntu operating system, and it is displaying latest version of Ubuntu server, that is 24.04. At this point of time, this is the latest version. Let's scroll down. Here you can select a EC2 instance type T3.micro, eligible for free tier, eligible for free tier, and it is giving two virtual CPUs, 1 GB RAM as a free. Based on your free tier, if you are having free tier, you can choose this one. Then here create a keypad. I already having a different keypads. If you want to create a keypad, click on create new keypad, then give a keypad name. Let's say Akkem hyphen Sreenivasa hyphen keypad. I am giving this name. Selective. Here you can see two algorithms, RS algorithm, ED 25519 algorithm. You can choose any one. I'm choosing RS algorithm. Then here .pem.ppk, I'm going to use mobile extreme for communicating this EC2 mission. Mobile extreme supports this ppk format. Then I'm selecting .ppk. Click on create key pair. You can see key pair is downloaded. So I'm taking this key pair. I'm placing this key pair in my C drive, in my folder, in my AWS Data Engineering, I created one folder for the key pairs. In this, I am placing this key pair. Next one. Then networking, I am selecting default, all default, create security group or select existing security group. I am selecting existing security group. Here I have already created one security group called Akkem Sreenivas. Then I'm selecting 30 GB hard disk space. So 30 GB eligible for free time. And then here number of instances are 1. Then I'm clicking on launch instance. So go to click on this link. You can see instance is running, or you can see instances. You can see instance is creating. You can see status is initializing. Once all the steps are completed, you are going to see like this 3 by 3 checks are passed. It means input, output, and it will check other hardware devices working or not. If everything is working properly, then it will show status checks, 3 by 3 checks passed. Once we can see that message, we can EC2 instances created. Fine. Meanwhile, let's download one client tool. Let's say here in my local, let me here, let's see here, I have SSH clients and I have mobile XTEM already downloaded. Let me explain the step. You can open any web browser. You can search mobile XTEM download, and then you can click on this first link, and you can select free edition, click on download, and it provides installer and portable. I recommend this portable. Once you click on, it will download a zip file, extract a zip file. You will see these kind of folders, and I renamed mobile XTEM with Akkem Sreenivas mobile XTEM. You can rename with any name. Then you can see one mobile XTEM file. I renamed this file also Akkem Sreenivas mobile XTEM. Instead of every time coming this folder, send this one to desktop. Send this one to desktop team. Desktop. Now you can see. Sorry. Let's say this is my mobile XM. Double click on this one. Here we need to create a connection between this EC2 machine. See, 1 minute. Click on allow. Once you click on mobile XM, first time it will ask security. You can click on allow. Then next one. Here you can see, refresh this one. You can see 3 by 3 checks are completed, and mobile XM, you can click on session. Sorry, you can click on session. Here you can see session, and here you can see SSH. Here you need to provide IP address like public IP, public DNS. So go to your EC2 instance, select the EC2 instance which you want to connect. So I am selecting this EC2 instance, Linux for AWS DE. Here you can see public IP and public DNS. You can select one. I'm selecting public IP. Then go to here, enter public IP. and default username for this Ubuntu is Ubuntu. Username is Ubuntu. Then click on advanced SSH settings. Attach that private key file. We downloaded .ppk, right? Click on use private key. Click on this browse. Then go to that location. Go to Sreenivas and Akkem Sreenivasa and complete AWS. Go to keys. Select the key. Akkem Sreenivas key file. Then click on open. Then here you can see one more option, bookmark settings. Here I am renaming old name. I am giving Linux hyphen Linux underscore per underscore AWS DE. Then click on OK. Now first time you see this option, do not show this one. Click on accept. That's it. It will connect AWS EC2 Linux operating system. Okay, just press you one finger on control, and you can move mouse pointer. Mobile XM is user friendly. I'm executing different Linux commands, pwd, ls, moving directory from one location to other location, ls, pwd, etc. Okay, clear screen. Once you connected EC2 mission, then you can execute any Linux command. So clear, right? How to install Linux operating system and how to connect Linux operating system. For our Linux commands practice purpose, we have created EC2 mission with Ubuntu operating system. We have connected EC2 instance with mobile XTEM SSH client. Then all our practicals we are going to do using this SSH client called mobile XM on Ubuntu operating system. Yeah. Now let's see Linux file system introduction or Linux file system hierarchy. Let me explain in Windows. In Windows, in Windows, while installing, we choose one main directory called C drive, and along this one you can select multiple drives, and one important directory is C drive. Listen, Linux operating system, everything is a file system. It may be file, it may be directory. We call them as a file system. Okay. So first one, root directory or root file system. This is called root. So root is the main file system. Under root directory, we have multiple subdirectories like slash. If you see here, uh, Linux operating system, you can see cd, you can clear the screen, you can type pwd. So under root directory, there is one directory called home. In this root directory, there is a directory called home. This is a home directory for users. This is a home directory for users. Let's say you created X user. Under this home, you can see X. If you created another user Y, you can see home directory for Y user. If you create another user Srinivas, you can see home directory for Srinivas. let me open Windows operating system. While installing, I created a user called Sreenivas. So here under C, under users, we can see one user folder called Akkem. Similar way, for every user, home directory creates under root, under home with username. So slash home contain user directories for every created user. Every created user. Next one, Tim. Slash root is the main root user home directory. So once you install Linux operating system, there is a main user called root. Root user is the main administrator. For root user, you will create slash root home directory. And next one, slash boot. Very, very important. Let me open slash boot. CD slash boot and ls. You can see some bootable files. Some bootable files. In Windows, C drive contain all installed software's bootable files, including operating system bootable files. That's why most of the people say don't create your working files, working directories in C drive. Instead, you can create one more partition drive like D, E, F, and they will ask to create your files into those directories. Yes or no? Because whenever you restart Windows operating system, if you store everything in C drive, it will take more time to boot. So we do not have such kind of issues. This boot directory contains all bootable files. Bootable files. Whenever you restart, it uses this slash boot to start your operating system. Usually, while installing operating system, administrators gives maximum of 500 MB for this boot file, boot directory. Contain all bootable files that require less space. While restarting, it uses this boot directory to start your operating system. And next one, uh, very, very important one, bin and sbin. Bin and sbin. Let me open bin and sbin. cd slash bin ls. You can see list of commands. You can see list of commands, mkdir, and you can see different commands, ls command. You can see multiple commands here. You can see multiple commands. Similar way, clear screen, cd slash sbin, cd space sbin, then ls. You can see multiple commands. So sbin contain different commands. Bin commands for both root user, normal user. Sbin commands are for admin users. For admin users. So it contains bin and sbin contain different commands. And next very, very important directory is etc slash etc. etc directory file system contain configurations, various configuration files. Let's say user configuration file called password, user password configuration file called shadow. Like this, every configuration file contained in this location. It is very, very important directory. Let me go and show you clear screen. Uh, cd slash etc ls. You can see many configuration files here. Let's say cat slash etc slash password is a configuration file for user details. This is our username and user details. Cat slash etc slash shadow file is a password information file. Password information file. And here you can see user password encrypted details. You cannot see user password directly. You can see encrypted details. Next one thing. Next one. We have other directories like slash temp, cd slash temp, tmp. It is a temporary directory file system. Then you can see other directories like slash dev, slash mnt, slash media, and these are multiple. In that, very, very important one is slash opt. Opt stands for optional directory file system. Say I want to install my software, let's say Python, PySpark, etc. All the party softwares we will install in this location. Optional directory. Next one, very, very important one is slash lib. Very, 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 very important one. Slash lib. Here I said bin has been contain commands list, right? Let's say I executed ls command. If you execute ls command, it is going to show list of commands, right? How it is showing? There is a program written in background for execute corresponding action. So every command related library files presented in this lib location. Every command related library files presented in lib location. And next, very, very, very important directory file system is slash var. Slash var. Var stands for variable length. Variable length. What is the purpose of this var directory? Let's say I have installed Apache software. Apache software. Uh, let's say this is uh, web web server. Here, let's say we installed some my website, X website. So users are using, then for every log related to this one, we are going to configure in this location. Let's say X. All logs related to this software, we are going to load it into this location. That directory contains configuration of log location of your software. Maybe Apache, maybe HTTP, maybe Airflow, maybe a server. If you install associated logs, we are going to configure in slash var directory file system. Okay. So these are some important directories too. So all these directories, file systems, in Linux, we call normal files or ordinary files. If you take CSV, HTML, these files are called normal files. These are directory files. These are directory files. And we have device files to map corresponding device, USB device, DVD device. Any external device mapping, we have other device file system called device files. So these are three types of file systems presented in Linux file system team. So the Linux files hierarchy. In Linux file system hierarchy, important one is root directory or root file system. Everything under root directory or root file system team. Okay. Yeah. Let's start him. As part of Linux for AWS Data Engineering. In this session, we are going to discuss Linux basic commands for AWS Data Engineering. Yeah, let's start it. Yeah, let's start it. So in this session, we are going to discuss different Linux basic commands for AWS Data Engineering. Let's say if you execute any command, anything, then we can clear a screen using clear command. So it will clear a console of your Linux console. And there is one important command called who space am space I or who am I. Who space am space I. It it will show you your logged in user details. So we logged in as user Ubuntu and terminal type is PTS. And when you logged in, and we can use who am I combine, it will display only username team. If you want to know who logged into your machine, then we can use who am I command. And there is command called su, and here we use username. If you use this username, su username, it will switch from current user to specified user. Let's say I created Sreenivas user. Then if I enter SU Sreenivas, then it will prompt you to enter password of Sreenivas. Once you enter password, then it will switch from Ubuntu user to Sreenivas user. So later, while user management completed, there we are going to create a user. Then we are going to see how to switch from one user to other user team. Okay. Next important basic command is pwd. When we type pwd, it will display present working directory. Assume you changed multiple directories. Let's say cd slash etc and cd slash opt, cd slash home, let's say cd slash opt. You want to know currently in which directory you are in. Then you can type pwd. It will display current working directory. So, so if you want to know where you are currently working, in which directory you are in, then you can type pwd command. It will display, it will display current working directory. I am pressing only cd. Then if I type pwd, it is showing slash home slash ubuntu. When I press cd, what will happen? We are going to discuss in another change directory basic command discussion team. Okay. Yeah. Next one, I want to know command details team. Let's say I want to create a directory. I know mkdir. Mkdir is a command. to create a directory, but I do not know complete options presented in that directory, in that command. I want to know complete information about that command. Then there are three help commands. There are three help commands: man command, info command, then command space hyphen hyphen help. Command space hyphen hyphen help. Let me type man mkdir. When I type this one, observe, it gives complete information about your command. See, what is this command? And you can see description and different options of this command. You can see, you can press enter. You can press enter. You can see complete information. If you want to come out from this directory, you can see here Q, quit. You can type a Q, it will come out from this man prompt. Other command, we have info. Info space command name. If you see info space command name, it is similar to man command only, but it displays summarized description, summarized information of each option. Command summarization plus each option summarization. It gives the summarized information of each option. Okay. You can press quit Q, then it will come out from info page. Next one thing. Let's say I want to know the help of every command. Then you can type a command, you can enter option called hyphen hyphen help. Then you can see brief introduction about your command. It gives a brief info and each option brief info. Clear, right? If you want to know brief information about each option of that command, then go with command space hyphen hyphen help. I'm clearing the screen using clear command. Yeah. Next, very important command is ls command. Ls command. I want to know list of files and directories. I can use ls command. It will display current working directory, list of files and directories. In current working directory, there are no files. That's why it is displaying. Along with the current directory, if you can know list of files of directories of particular directory. You can use ls space directory name. You can see complete details of complete list of files and directories of specified directory file system. ls command list within current directory or specified directory what is presented in the directory. A directory may contain subdirectories and files, right? So it gives a complete list of details of that specified directory. There is another one, hyphen A. If I use hyphen A, you can see in current directory, previously we did not see anything, but we can see now we can see uh, other additional information. Let's say ls-a slash etc. You can see along with the list of directories, you can see some data. Let me clear the screen. Let me type ls in current directory, ls space hyphen a. You can see some dot dot extension. Sorry, dot prefix. Maybe for file, maybe for directory. you can see that prefix. In Linux team, in Linux, if any file start with dot or if any directory start with dot, those are hidden files, hidden directories. To hide file or directory, we can save with dot prefix. With the dot prefix, we can save file or directory name. Okay. Now there is one more important command called ls-l or ll. ls-l, ls-l space slash etc. You can see more information or ll slash etc. You can see more information. If you observe here, ls space l with the specified directory or ll space specified directory. ls or ll means long information of your specified directory or file. Long list. ll means long list. Yes. What is this long list includes? First one, observe, take one as hyphen as a first one, take other one d as a other one. So this part is called file permissions. File or directory permissions too. File or directory permissions. File or directory permissions. How I can say a file or directory? Here you can see first character hyphen. If you see first character hyphen, then it is a file. If it is a if inside a file permission, if you see first character is hyphen, that is a file. If first character, if you see D, then that is a directory file system. That is a directory file system. Okay. These are file permissions. First parameters, first three characters are owner. Next three characters are for group. Next three characters are for other people. We are going to discuss these file permissions in depth, very in depth in file permissions command team. And this one, who created this directory or file means owner, and owner related group, and this is size, and this one is date created, and this is file or directory name. File or directory name. Okay, clear right here? ls command or ll command. Let's continue Linux basic commands team. Now let's continue directory or folder commands. So in this, we are going to discuss multiple commands. First, let's start creating a directory. First, I'm going to create a single directory. Next, I'm going to create at a time multiple directories. Next, I'm going to create a subdirectory using mkdir command. Okay, let's start implementing. See, clear screen. and you can see pwd. We are under /home/ubuntu. /home/ubuntu is a home directory of Ubuntu user. We logged in. We logged in as a Ubuntu user. In this home directory, I am creating directory mkdir d1 ls. You can see one directory is created. I want to create multiple directories mkdir d2, d3, d4, d5. Oh, sir. Two times I used. Yeah, two times I used. Clear screen. ls. Let's see. It is created. All directories are created. Only one thing you can use in this way. It is created multiple directories at a time. Next requirement is I want to create a programming directory first. Under programming, I want to create a Python. I want to create a Python. Under Python, I want to create core Python. Core Python. Like this, I want to create directory, main directory, subdirectories, and subdirectory at a time. I'm trying to create using mkdir command. Let's say here I'm trying to use mkdir. I'm asking mkdir to create a programming directory. Under this, I am asking to create Python. Python. Under this, I am asking to create core Python. Core Python. When I try to ask this one, here it is saying cannot cannot create a directory. What happening here? So in this case, it is trying to create a core Python directory. Core Python directory. So first it is trying to create a core Python directory. To create a core Python directory, which should be exist, Python directory should exist. To create Python directory, this should be exist. So these two are not available to create a core Python. To create a core Python, it is our mkdir trying to create core Python under Python under programming. Programming is not existed. Python is not existed. That's why it is saying cannot create a directory. Our requirement is not to create entire structure at a time. So if you want to do this one, we have to give additional information saying, saying -p. -p. When you type this -p option, mkdir understands. First, it will try to create a core Python directory. To create core Python, we require Python directory. To create a Python directory, programming directory should be exist. So with this option understands if parents are not existed. Core Python is parent is Python. For Python, parent is programming. Then first it will create programming. Then it will create Python. Later it will create core Python. Because of this option, mkdir understands if parents are not existed, create parent first, then create a child directories. That is the meaning. That is the meaning of -p option. Let me run this program. Previously we got error. This time we never get error. It is created. Let me know ls programming is created. cd programming. Then ls you can see Python. cd Python. ls you can see core Python. So clear, right? Entire structure is created. cd here screen. Clear, right? This first part of directory command. Next, let's see change a directory. All these are related to directory related. So we discussed mkdir command. Now we are going to discuss cd. cd full form is change a directory. Change a directory. Okay, let me create one more structure under programming. Under programming, I am creating one more programming structure. Java, Java, core Java, core Java. Okay, clear screen. Now, ls, we have programming, ls space programming. You can see two subdirectories under programming. Yeah, I want to switch. Currently, I am under /home/Ubuntu. I want to switch from this directory to /etc. You can use cd/etc. I want to move from /etc to /opt. cd/opt. We can move. You can type pwd. It will show where you are currently in. Using cd directory, we can switch from one directory to other directory. We have an option cd dot dot ls. You can see where you are. It come out from one directory. Let's say you are entered /etc, you entered /opt, you entered cd/var, you moved or you switched to multiple directories, but you want to come out from all those directory to home directory. Just type cd space enter. It will takes you to your user's home directory. Wherever you are, wherever you are. If you type cd enter, no need to give space. cd enter. If you give space, meaning of cd command is same. If you type cd, wherever you are, it will takes you to your user's home directory. Or let's say I moved /etc, cd/opt, cd/var. I moved here. One thing we can use cd or we can use cd tilde operator. Tilde means home directory of your user. Tilde means home directory of your user. You can use pure cd command or you can use tilde operator. Why they given this option is, let's say you are writing some configuration in files. There you cannot use cd command, right? So we can give tilde operators. That's why they additionally given this tilde. Tilde means it will point to home directory. From where you are, from where you are in any of the Linux directory, tilde means user's home directory. Okay? Yeah, clear screen. Next one tip. I want currently, let's say I am in CD programming and Python and core Python. Okay, I, I'm in this path. So my requirement is I want to come out from core Python. You can just cd dot dot press enter pwd. One directory you want to come out, we use cd dot dot. I want to come out from Python. I want to come out from programming. You can use cd dot dot slash dot dot. It will come out from two directories. Two directories back pwd. Okay, next example. cd programming Python core Python. Okay, that's a clear screen. pwd. You are under this location. My requirement. I want to come out from Python. I want to come out from core Python. I want to come out from Python. Then I want to enter into Java and I want to enter into core Java. Two directories I want to come out back. Two directories I want to go forward. Two directories I want to come out back and two directories I want to go forward. You can do like this. cd space dot dot. It come out from core Python slash dot dot. It come out from Python. Then slash I want to enter into Java. Then slash I want to enter into core Java. Press enter. pwd. Clear writing? cd dot dot. I'm come outing from core Java. Dot dot. I'm come outing from Java. Then Python. I'm entering into Python directory. Then core Python. I'm entering into core Python directory. pwd. So using dot dot, you can come out from one directory. Slash dot dot, it come out from two directories back. So you can use this dot dot slash for any number of directories you want to come back. Clear writing? cd directory, cd command. Next one thing, remove directory. Remove directory. Okay, let's say cd, clear screen, ls. Here we have directories. rm is a command to remove directory. rm d1, it will delete one directory. But if you observe what it is giving, cannot remove d1, it is a directory. Why it is giving this message is, tell me, a directory contain file, collection of files and collection of subdirectories, right? It may contain collection of files, collection of subdirectories, right? Yes or no? Then if you are removing directory means it will remove all files and all subdirectories of that directory, right? That's why by default it is showing a message, hey user, you are trying to delete directory. If you aware, say yes, I want to remove directory with confirmation -f. With confirmation -f, it will not sorry -f -r. -r is confirmation. Recursively delete all files, all subdirectories first. Later you can delete main directory. If there is any files inside directory, remove first. If any subdirectories, remove first. Recursively. -r means yes, I am aware. Yes, I am aware. Recursively relieve files in it, subdirectories in it. Then you can delete main directory. So you can delete one, you can delete two, three, four, any number of directories at a time. Okay, clear screen. ls, you can see d5 and d6. Next one, I want to move directory from one location to other location. Let's say we are under slash home slash Ubuntu. Here we have directories d5 and programming. d5 I want to move to programming. Just you can use mv d5 to programming. That's it. Sorry. Space, give a space. You can move this directory ls cd programming, then ls, you can see d5 Java and Python subdirectories. Next one tip. Next one is my requirement is I want to rename d5 to some other. I want to rename to some other name. But here there is no separate rename command. We can use mv command, old name and new name. Let's say PySpark, ls. Rename, we can use mv command for move or rename. We can use mv command for move from one location to other location and rename. Rename nothing but here you are moving one name to other name. That's it. So we can use mv command for move directory from one location to other location or rename directory. Okay, clear, right? Hope all of you understand these directory commands. Directory commands. Yeah, let's continue, team. As part of Linux for AWS Data Engineering, we are discussing Linux basic commands for AWS Data Engineering. Okay, let's in this we have discussed many basic commands in previous session until directory or folder commands. Okay, now let's start continuing this file commands. First, we are going to discuss create a file and read a file, remove file, and then move file, rename file. So these are different commands we are going to discuss in this session. Let's continue. So first, let's start understanding how to create a file. To create a file, we have different commands: cat command, touch command, t command. First, let's start understanding cat command. Let's say, team, we are currently under slash home slash Ubuntu. In this, we do not have any file. Let's say I want to create a file. Cat greater than greater than cat greater than file name. File one, file one. Then I am writing some content here. Let's say I am writing content saying I one, then I two. To save and to come out from this cat prompt, you can use Control D. It will save, come out from cat prompt. Next one, let's see. To see the content, to read the content of a file, we have different commands. Here, I'm using cat command now to see content of my file. Let's say I am using cat, just you can use file name, then it's showing content of file. Next one, cat command I am using to append new content to file one. So same command I'm using cat greater than file one. Then I'm trying to append new content I3. Then control D. Then again I want to see the content of file. I'm using cat file name. But this time I'm seeing new data. I lost old data. I used cat command, cat greater than file name for creating a file, appending the content. But when I try to append the content, what happened? It is overridden. Old content with new content. But my requirement is appending the content. How can we achieve append content to a file using cat command? So instead of single greater than, we use two greater than operators called redirectional operator. Okay, cat file one, then you can write append the content I5, then I6, then control D, then again display the content of a file. See, we are able to see the content. Now let's understand. If I use cat greater than file name, if a file is not created, it will create a file. Then start writing the content. If I use the same command to create a file, if file is already available, it will erase old data, it will write new data. Similar way, if you use cat greater than file, if file is not available, it will create a file, then start writing the data. If file is already existed, it will append the content from end of file location. Then it will continue writing the data. So it will append the content at end of the file. It will not override. If file is not available, it will create a file. If file is already available, then it will append the content from end of the file. Okay. Next one tip. Next one tip. If you see cat command can be used to create one file at a time. But my requirement is I want to create multiple files. I wanted to create multiple files. Let me explain how to create. There is a command called touch. You can create any number of files. File 1, file 2, file 3, file 4, file 5. Like this, you can create n number of files. N number of files. See, file 1 and F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, ls-l. You can see all these are files because first character is hyphen. In file permissions, first character is hyphen, then we can say these are files. If you use cat command with the file name, and we can write the data. But if we use touch command, if we specify list of files, it will create an empty file without data. Touch command can be used to create empty files, multiple empty files. But my requirement is I want multiple files, but with the content. With the content. Then there is another command called T command. There is another command called T command. T command can be used to create multiple files with content. Let me use this one. Clear screen. T command file 2 space file 3 space file 4. Okay. Then I am writing the content I1, I2, I3. Then control D. You can see sorry, cat file 2, cat file 3, cat file 4. You can see you can write content into multiple files at a time using T command. Playwriting, how to create files using cat command, touch command, t command. Then we seen how to see the content of a file using cat command. Now let's use, yeah, this is, see, we are creating multiple files with the content. So what is the content you are writing? Same content it is going to write into three files. You are saying here this is for first file, this is copy to another two files. This is for first file and this is copy to another two files. This is first file. I typed only one time. When I press enter, it will try to write it into another file. That's what I'm saying. It is for first file and it automatically writes this message into another two files. When we type here, using T command, we cannot. T command used to write content into multiple files with same content, not different content. For that, we have an option. We have an option. One is creating one file. One is for creating multiple files without data. Third one, we have a T command with creating multiple files with the same data. So if you have a use, you can use. Otherwise, we use only cat command. We have an option. Yeah. Another command, let's say nano command. So nano command is also used to create a file. Let's say file. If file is not available, it will create a file. Then you can write the content. Hi, hello, how are you? You can write the content. Then to save, to come out from this one, you can say Control O to write out, and to come out from this one, Control X. Control O, and you can see here Control O, then press Enter. Control O X and sorry, Control O, Control X, then press Enter, or Control X to exit. So first one, you can use nano command and file name, and you can press enter. If file is already available, it show the content. Then if you want append, move to end of file location, you can continue. You can continue writing. Control X. Then do you want to modify? I want to yes. Then press enter. So like a cat command, we have nano command, and other command is VI. VI file name. VI is like editor, like Notepad, Note plus in Windows operating system. So we can use VI. You can use file name. If file is already available or created earlier, then it will open that file. If file is not created, then VI will create a file and opens a file. So if you want to write anything into this file, first you need to press I. I stands for insert. Then you can write message. Once you complete writing the content, you have to come out from insert mode to escape mode. Then you have to press escape. So once you completed insert, you have to move from insert mode to escape. Then if you want to save and come out from this VI prompt, you need to use some commands. For that, you need to use colon mode, shift to colon. You have to write to shift to colon. If you write Q, it will not save whatever you written data. If it will not save. If you want to save data, you have to use WQ, shift, sorry, right plus quit, right plus click and exclamatory mark, press enter. Then you can use cat file 6 or you can use nano file 6 to see the content, or you can see again vi file 6 to see the content. Then control X, sorry, escape, shift colon Q, because we did not write anything. Then quit from this vi prompt. So these are different ways to create the files and to see the content of file. So we seen creating a file using these commands and creating a file using these commands. And to see the content, we seen using this command, using these three commands. Now let's see how to delete a file. Let's say here I have different files. ls-l, you can see all these are files. All these are files. You can see first character is hyphen. Now I want to remove a file. You can use rm space file name. Listen. rm space file1, f1. It is removing file, and you can see ls-l, you can see f1 is removed. I want to remove multiple files. rm space f2, f3, f4, f5. Then ls-l, you can see from f1 to f5 files are removed. Next one, I want to rename a file. Let's say I want to rename a file, or I want to move a file. Let's say clear screen ls-l. You can see this file file1. I want to move to this programming directory. ls-l programming. You can see it has only directories. I want to move file1 to this programming directory. Okay. Then once again I am executing this ls-l programming. Now you are able to see file ls-l. You can see from current location file1 is moved and placed into program directory. Okay. Next one, I want to rename a file. There is no separate command for rename. We can use rename command, sorry, mv command. We can give old file name. We can give new file name. Then ls-l, you can see. So file 6 is renamed with different name, old name with new name. So mv command can be used to rename a file. Okay. Like our Windows, we have editors to create files, right? Instead of command prompt, in Windows we have editors like Notepad, Notepad, Notepad++, WordPad, etc. editors. In Windows operating system, in Linux or Unix operating system, we have different editors for creating files. Like instead of cat command, we can use VI editor, nano editor, gedit. VI and nano you can see in server operating system, and VI nano gedit we can see desktop operating systems. Desktop operating systems. What is server operating system? What is desktop operating system? Linux provides one desktop OS. It is complete graphical user interface like our Windows operating system. Okay. Another one is server. Server is complete command user interface. Command user interface. So this is command user interface. We are using pure commands to execute programs, to run programs, to do any activity, we are using command user interface or server operating system. Okay. So for development servers, for testing servers and production servers, we use this one. Nowadays, instead of Windows operating systems, many companies giving Linux desktop operating systems for developers. You may see Ubuntu desktop operating system, and it has a lot of graphical user interfaces like Windows operating system. Why we go with Linux desktop operating system? It is free. If it is Windows, you need to take a license. Let's say I have thousands of employees in my company. For every person, we give laptop or desktop and contain an operating system. So we have to purchase that operating system. If you go with Ubuntu is free. Many Linux operating systems are free. That's why people may go with uh, Linux Ubuntu desktop OS for development. So here VI and nano commands works in server. It not works in server operating system, but VI nano gedit works in desktop because gedit is a graphical user interface editor. Graphical user interface editor. Okay. Hope all of you clear about these basic commands. Yeah. Let's continue. Tim. As part of Linux for AWS Data Engineering, in this session, we are going to discuss Linux file and directory permissions. Okay. First, let's understand what is permissions and what are permission groups and what are permission types. Okay. So like this. So we are going to discuss first permission groups, permission types, and where we can how we can represent file permissions, or uh, how we can use these permissions in symbolic way and numeric way. Okay, let's start understanding them. First one, permission team. Let's say this is my Linux server, Linux server. Okay, and I have multiple users. They are connecting from different locations remotely, and they are connecting to this Linux server box. And based on their work they are going to do. So here I have files in server, we have files and we have folders. We have folders. Okay. These files and folders may be created any one of these people. Any one of these people. So we have different users. Users may connecting from different locations remotely, and they created files and folders. Files and folders. So here, Tim, uh, let's say user one is created file, file one, okay, and user two is created, user three is created directory or folder one, directory one. Then, uh, then user three having read, write, execute permissions on directory one, and what about others? So using this file or directory permissions, we can give permissions on your file or permissions on your directory. To give access on file or directory, we are going to use this file and directory permissions. Okay. In this, we have permission groups. First one, permission groups. Permission groups. Just now, who created file person as a owner? So, so owner nothing but user. Every user should be associated with at least one group, and he may join in any number of groups. User may join in any number of groups. At least one group, and user may join in any number of groups. Okay. So here uh, we have a file and file one. On this file one, owner permissions, owner permissions, permission groups. And next one, group permissions. What are group permissions? Let's say group one, along with user one, maybe some more users like user two to user n is presented. What about this group members of this owner group? Next one, other than group, user, group members, and others. Means all users or all other users. So these are three types of groups: team: owner, group, and all others. Okay, next one, team. On file or directory, on file or directory, we can give three types of permissions. Team. We can give three types of permissions: read permission, write permission, and execute permission. Let me explain. If it is a file, if it is a file, we need read and write permission. Write permission. If it is a directory or folder, if it is a directory or folder, then we need read, write, and execute permission. Execute permission. Why execute permission? If you want to read any content, you need to enter into directory, right? And then you can read the content. So that's why folder additionally required execute permission. So we have permission types are three: read, write, and execute permissions. Okay. Read, write, read, write, execute permissions are generic terminology. Generic terminology. In Linux, read is represented in R, write is represented in W, execute is represented in X. Numeric representation, read equal to 4 value, write equal to 2, and execute equal to value 1. So you can represent these permission types either symbolic way or numeric way by giving permissions on file or directory. Okay. Yeah. Next one thing. Next important one. We can represent owner equal to U, group equal to G, others equal to O. Owner always U, user, owner or user always we represent using symbolic. We can represent groups only in symbolic representation. Owner means U, group means G, and others means O. Okay. So these are different representations. Hope all of you understand uh, what are file and directory permissions and permission groups, permission types, and representation of uh, permission types and groups. Okay, clear writing? Yeah, yeah. Now let's continue file permissions too. First, let me open our Linux machine. Let's see ls-l or ll. You can see file permissions. Let me execute ls-l. You can see uh, file or directory permission. So in this, let's focus on file permissions. File permissions. This is file. How we can say this is a file? In permissions. These are permissions. First to three is owner, and next to three is group members. Next to three is others. And this is permission type file. If you see in file permission, if you see hyphen, then that is a file. If you see first character is D, then that is called directory. Okay. Using ls-l or using ll, we can find file or directory permissions. Okay. Now, now how we can say whether it is a file or directory? By seeing first character. If it is hyphen, then we can say it is a file. If first character is the, then we can say that is a file. Okay. Now let's see. Now let's see. I want to see particular file permission, only particular file. ls-l, then file name. ls-l, then we can see particular file permissions. Particular file permissions. Now let's start. Now let's start uh, creating a file and then understanding file default permissions. File default permissions. Let me create a file. I am creating a file called cat greater than AAA. File name is AAA. Sorry, only two greater than. Okay. Then I am creating welcome to Welcome to file permissions. File permissions. Hi, hello, how are you? Just writing content. Then control D. I created a file. Once I create a file, for this file, permissions are assigned, right? Those permissions are called default permissions. I am executing ls-l a. Then see permissions. See the permissions. You can see this is for user, owner or user. This is for group members of owner, and this is for other people. Read write for owner, read write for group members. Other people only read access. Other people only read access. These are default file permission. Default file permissions. So I created a file. This is owner permission. This is group permission. This is other people permission. So read write means 6. Read write means 6. Only read means 4. So default permissions are 664 per file. Default permissions are 664. Okay. And later we'll discuss about directory default permissions. Okay. Let me remove here. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So now let's see. So you understand, right? The default file permissions. Yeah. Now let's understand UMask. There is a concept called UMask. There is a concept called UMask. So file UMask value and directory UMask value we will discuss later. Okay. File UMask value. What is the UMask value of file? Understand here, Tim. So what are full permissions required for file? What are full permissions? I said read, write is called full permission for file. No need of execute permission. Only read, write. Read means 4, write means 2. 4 plus 2, 6. If user or owner contain 6, then we call it as full. Group contains 6, we call it as full. And other people contain 6, then we call it as full permissions. But what are default permissions? Owner 6, group member 6, other people 4. If you minus from full permissions to default permission, you will get a UMask value. That is 002. Mask means masking file permissions for others. So whenever you create a file, default permissions are 664. Means mask is applied for that file. Okay. Now let's see how to change file permissions. How to change file permission. There is a command called chmod. There is a command called chmod. Using chmod command, we can change file permission. We can change directory permissions. Now let's see how to change file permission. Okay. Now let's see examples. Example. Okay. So in this, let me show you First, we created a file, cat greater than AA file. We have already created this file. Okay, we have created this file. Default permissions of this file AA is 664. Okay, my requirement is remove read permission to others. Remove read permissions to others. Then here see, to add permissions we use plus symbol. To remove permissions we use minus symbol. If you want assign for multiple, then we use equal to, or we can directly use numeric values. Okay, let's see. I am want to remove. For others, I want to remove read permission. Just use this chmod. Chmod. Okay. O means others, right? For others, what I am doing? R means removing on which file AAA. Then now let's execute ls-l AAA. Then you can see in this three, you can see read permission is removed. Now other requirement is remove read permission to group. Remove read permissions to group. Okay. This time I'm using numeric representation. So numeric representation. See chmod owner 6. If I remove read permission, he has only write permission, that is 2. Other people we already want to remove read permission, that's why 620. Then let's execute ls-l. You can see read permission is removed from group members. Next requirement, give read and write permission to group and others. Read and write permission to group and others. Let's say you can use in this way. G means group, O means others, plus means assign, read and write permissions. ls-l or you can use read read, sorry, 666, then ls-laa. For all people we are giving read and write permissions. Next one, give file. We are writing data, but we are not reading the data. To read the content, we need read permission. To write the content, we need write permission. That's it. Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Next one, give all permissions to everyone. Write execute. Execute is not required, but just I want to assign all permissions. First, we use which approach? You can use this one, user, group, others, read, write, execute. ls-l AAA. Okay, you can see read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. Next one. You can use this approach, or if you remember, we have one more characters called equal to. Equal to. You can use plus symbol or you can use equal to. Read, write, execute equal to UGO. Okay. LS-L. You can see. Next one. Symbolic representation. Tell me symbolic representation. 777. Sorry, numeric representation. 777. Then it will work. So multiple ways we can represent. You can use symbolic way. You can use numeric way for assigning file permissions or directory permissions. Clear writing? How to give file or directory permissions? Sorry, we discussed only file permissions. So we understand uh, how to create a file and how to check file permissions, and we understand file default permissions. We understand umask value. Then we understand how to change file permissions. We executed multiple examples to change file permissions. Okay? Yeah. Let's continue. File and directory permissions. As part of Linux for AWS Data Engineering, we are discussing file and directory permissions. In that, let's continue directory permissions. First of all, how to know whether it is a file or directory. So we use ls-l or we can use ll command. Then it will display complete files and directories. List of files and directories in current working directory. So here, if we see first character is D in file or directory permissions, then we can call it as a directory. If we see first character is hyphen, then we can say that is a file. Okay, first point. Second one, default directory permissions. What are default directory permissions? Let me create a directory. We already created a directory. Let's say we use mkdir command. And we create directory. Okay. So we already created one directory called program. So this is programming directory permissions. These are programming directory permissions. Okay. Let me, when I execute ls-l, it is displaying this directory programming. Okay. So in this, let's say first three characters are for owner. After this one, okay. These first three characters are for owner. Next three characters are for group members. Next three characters are for other members. Okay. So owner read write execute means 7. Group members read write execute means 7. 4 plus 2 plus 1, 7. Other people read and execute means 4 plus 1, 5. These are default permissions for directory is 777, sorry, 775 default permissions. Now let's understand umask value. So here we already know about file. So full permissions are 66, default permissions are 664, and umask value is 002. Coming to directory, full permissions. When we can say full permissions, read, write, execute. When directory for other for groups contain read, write, execute, we can say full permissions. What are default permissions? Owner 7, group members 7, other people 5. If you minus this default with full permission, you will get umask value is 002. So file umask value is 002, directory umask value is 002. Now let's start understanding creating directory. We already created a directory called program, and we displayed file permissions. Okay, then I want to remove read and execute permission to others. Read and execute permission to others. Then tell me to chmod 770 programming directory ls-l. You can see read write execute for owner, read write execute for group, removed read and execute from others. Next one. Next one. Remove read permission to group. Only read. Tell me. So I am using chmod. Read means what? 4. If you minus 4 in 7, how much you will get? 3, right? Only write and execute. Write to 2, execute is 1, 3. 730. Then ls-l. You can see for owner read write execute, but group members only write and execute. Other people no permission. Next one. Give read write permission to group and others. Chmod group and others. Sorry. Group and others plus which one we want to give? Read and write. Read means R, write means W. On which one? Programming. Then ls-l. You can see read write execute, read write execute, and only read. Only read. Next one. Tip. I want to give all permission to everyone. Then you can give chmod 777 on programming. Then you can see ls-l. You can see owner read write execute, group read write execute, other people also read write execute. So in this way, we can change directory permissions too. If you want to change file or directory permissions, we use chmod. Change modification. Okay, clear, right? How to change file or directory permissions? Let's start. In this session, we are going to discuss Linux user and group management as part of Linux for AWS. Let's start discussing user management and group management. First, let's understand uh, what is group and what is group management. Okay, and then Then we are going to discuss user management. Let's discuss about the first introduction of group and group management and introduction of user and user management. Yeah, let me discuss them. First, let's start and discuss about group. Group is a collection of users. Group is a collection of users. So you can add one user, at least one user, and you can add any number of users, any number of users into group. So collection of users, we can say collection of users. Coming to user, user is a person or user is a account in Linux. User can access Linux server from anywhere in the world, post IP address, then user and password. User is a person, he can connect remotely or physically into Linux server using username and password. And next one, a user must be at least associated with one group. A user must associated with one group. So in Linux operating system, while creating user, it will ask user to add a group. So here, uh, adding user to group is optional. Then in that case, what happen is in Linux, it will create a group with username. It will create a group with username. So if you do not add user to group at the time of user creation, what Linux do? Linux will create a group with the same user and adds user to user group. Okay, that's why a user must be associated with at least one group and any number of groups. Why any number of groups? Let's say a user is working for multiple projects. So each project having different groups. So we can add user to multiple groups. In group management, in group management, we are going to discuss about creating groups, adding users to group, remove users from group, and remove groups. These are activities we are going to perform as part of group management. Coming to coming commands presented in Linux operating system for group management is add, group del, group add, and group del. Using those group add and group del, we can perform group management operations. Coming to user management, coming to user management, in user management, we can perform activities like adding users, setting password to user, deleting user, adding user to group, deleting user from group. We can lock user. Let's say user is some days is not available. Instead of uh, making user active, we can lock user and assigning cell to user. Assigning cell to user. So these are activities we are going to perform as part of user management. To perform user management, we have different commands in Linux. One is user add, password to change password, user del, user modification. User mod means user modification. These are different commands available to perform user management. Clear, right? Hope all of you understand what is group management and what is user and user management. Let's continue uh, user management and group management today. As part of Linux for AWS Data Engineering, we are discussing user management and group management. In that, let's continue group management in Linux operating system. First point about what is group and group management is a group is a collection of users. Every user must associated with at least one group, and he can join in any number of groups. There is no limit because user may works in multiple projects. Then we can add to multiple groups. Next point. If you want to know existed group information, there is a configuration file called /etc/group. Let me open here cat //etc/group. You can see complete group details. See, our user group Ubuntu, user created with Ubuntu operating system, right? At the time of EC2 installation creation, we discussed Ubuntu EC2 in EC2 for Ubuntu operating system. Username is Ubuntu, and group also created with name Ubuntu. Okay, and this is group ID. This is group ID. Okay, so complete group information we can find in /etc/group file. Next point. Next point. In this, you can see this contains groups information. Every group has unique ID, and default group IDs is 1 to 999. From user groups starts from 1000. So there are plenty of groups, system groups. These are from 1 to 999. But user groups IDs starts from 1000. And you can see every group has list of one more user, each user separated with comma. Okay. Next one. How to create a group? We can use command called group add command, and we can create a group team. Okay. So you can see how to create a group. See, last group is Ubuntu. Okay. And here group ID 1000. Let's clear the screen. Let me use group add. Then I am adding uh, dev group. See here we are getting error saying permission denied. For user Ubuntu, there is additional permissions assigned at the time of user creation. AWS people added some additional permissions called sudo permissions. So if you find this kind of errors, we can use sudo command to execute additional permissions so that a Ubuntu user can execute admin commands also. Okay, sudo group add dev. I'm adding one more called admin, and I'm adding one more group called admin is available, administrator. I'm creating administrator. Then I'm adding another group called test group. So three groups I added. How to find the groups information? Cat /etc/group file. You can see we created dev group, administrator group, and we created test group. Okay, clear writing? How to create a group? Now, let's see. Now let's see how to delete a group. How to delete a group. I am trying to delete a group. Delete group administrators, and you can use group del. Let's say clear screen. Group sudo group del, and I'm deleting test. Then I'm executing /etc/group. Then test group is deleted. You can delete any group using group del command. Clear writing? How to delete a group? How to create a group? How to delete a group? Yeah. Yeah. Let's start in. In this session, we are going to discuss user management in Linux setting, uh, how to add users, how to delete users, how to change password of user, and how to modify user. Once user is created, let's say I want to change a group, I want to do some modifications, how we can perform user modification. Okay. And first important point about user is user information presented in two file setting. One is /etc/password. Don't confuse here. Password file contain user information. /etc/shadow file contain password information. By seeing password file, it contain password. Password file contain user information. Shadow file contain password information. Encrypted password information. First, let's open password file and shadow file. Let me open cat/etc/password, and you can see password files. And this is user ID, and this one is group ID, username, username, and group name. And this is home directory of user. For every user, it will create home, right? And this is cell of a user, cell assigned to user to uh, log in and execute commands. This is cell. This is cell. Bash cell assigned to user. Next one. See, user ID starts from 1000. 1 to 999 is uh, assigned or dedicated for system users. Normal users starts from 1000. Okay. Next one. cat/etc/shadow file. This shadow file contain password details. So this is password, and here you cannot see password directly, and password is encrypted. You cannot find the password directly. Even though if you open shadow file, you cannot see password directly. Password is stored in the form of encrypted. Okay, next one tip. I want to I want to create a user. I want to create a user. Then I am adding user add. So let me execute moments user add, and I am adding Sreenivas. Okay, let's use sudo. I am adding Swati, and I am adding user Badri, and I'm adding user Alia. So I created 4 users. Now I want to know user information. Then you can execute /etc /password. See, /etc/password and user Sreenivas. ID is 101. Group number is 103. This is home directory of Sreenivas. Swati user ID is 102. Group ID and home directory. Username is Badri. ID of Badri. Group ID. So we did not specify any group, right? It is created with group Badri. And Arya group ID is 104 and user ID is 1004 and group ID is 1006. Next routine. Next one. Let's see. Cell, con cell, bash cell, default cell. This is SH cell means default cell. Yeah. Now let's see group details of these users. Cat /etc/group file. You can see Srinivas group is created and Swati group is created and Badri group is created. Alia group is created. These group IDs associated in user details. Okay. Now I want to I want to I want to log in as user. I want to log in as user team. Let's try. If you remember, we discussed one command called su command. Okay, sudo su. I'm typing Srinivas. When I type Srinivas, it will ask a password. But if you see, if we use sudo, right, it is directly login. Let's try use uh, uh, because user Ubuntu having sudo, that's why we are able to log in without asking password. If I type su Srinivas, then it will ask a password. And here we have to enter a password. How to enter sorry, we did not assign password to Srinivas user. Then how can we assign password to user Srinivas? So for that, there is one command called password command and specify username. It will ask a password. So you might view or modify password information of Srinivas. Then let's see sudo password of Srinivas. It is asking password. Let's enter a password. I'm entering same password, Srinivas, same name, and re-enter password. Now password is updated successfully. Now let's try to switch SU Srinivas. Then it will ask a password. Enter a password, Srinivas. Then PWD. Then clear screen. Then how to know username tip? Who am I? Who space am space I. So who space ham space I is given initial logged in user details. who am I giving current user details. Next one, I want to switch to other user. So we do not have, let's say, password. Then I am typing Badri user. So we do not have an option to create a password. If I use sudo, and password Badri, but my user Srinivas do not associated with sudo. Let's try to enter Srinivas user password called Srinivas. Then Srinivas is not in the sudoverse file. Okay. Then exit from Srinivas user. To come out from Srinivas user, we use exit command. To come out from any user, we use exit command. Let's say sudo password Badri, and I am entering password also Badri, and I am entering sudo password Swati. Okay, then password Swati. Then now SU Srinivas, and password Srinivas, and who am I? Srinivas. SU Badri password, and who am I? And SU Swati, then password Swati, then who am I? It is showing Swati. I want to come out from Swati. Exit. Then who am I? Badri. I want exit from Badri user. Exit. Who am I? Srinivas. I want exit from this user. Exit. Who am I? Ubuntu. When I type exit from here, it will exit from Ubuntu user also. Okay. Yeah. Now, let's see. If you want to change default user values, we have -u. You can specify particular user ID. By default, it will give IDs, right? ID. You can, if you want to change user ID, you can use U. If you want to change home directory, you can use -d. If you want to change a default cell, you asked me SH cell, right? Instead, you want to assign bash cell, you can use -s. If you want to change a group, you can use -g. At the time of user creation, you can change or 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 you can use user mod command to modify once user is created. Let's say at the time of user creation, username is Vasu. For this user, I am assigning group is dev, and home directory is different location /opt/Vasu. Clear, right? If you want to change any parameters of user instead of default parameters, you can use, see, cat /etc/password. Username is Vasu. Earlier, default group is Vasu. This time, group is dev. Okay, see, Vasu user group ID is 1001 is dev group. Let's see, cat /etc/group 1001 is dev group ID. Okay. Yeah. So we have created a user and we have checked switch from one user account to another user account. Okay.